Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Sagittarius is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. These readings are totally free. If there is anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger. And I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Sagittarius, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And we've got a Knight of Pentacles. This is a very good card to begin with. This says that we're looking at our goals. We have a vision of the future. The Knight of Pentacles is always looking forward at the 10 of Pentacles, right? Trying to see, who am I? Where am I? Where am I going? What am I doing? What is the future me? What are they up to, right? And I think what we're doing is we're trying to make sure that the decisions, the thoughts, words, and deeds, the actions of the present moment today, right now, are helping us to get to that person doing that thing in that place that we want to be. Okay? So it's karma, right? It is understanding that if I don't do the right things today, I'm not going to reach those goals. I'm not going to be that person doing that. And maybe we don't know exactly, like we may not see the color of the wallpaper. We may not know exactly where we are or what we're doing, but we have a pretty good idea of what we want and what that future should look like. And we know that if we make the right decisions today, we can get to become that person. Well, that's the hard part, right? The decisions today, right? Because very often we think, well, I can skip today. I don't need to do it today. I can be disciplined. I can work hard tomorrow. I can, I can start the exercise tomorrow. I can start the intentional eating tomorrow. And, or conversely, maybe we try to rush and we try to do everything today in order to become that person down the road, but it's going to take more than just one burst of effort, right? So we have to see what's going on with this card. And I think the last thing we want is any regret. Right? I think anticipated regret is wisdom, The ability to understand that, okay, if I don't do these things today, my future self is going to really, really regret that. And to me, that's a form of wisdom, right? Let's see where this card is going, this energy. 2 of Cups, love, the urge to merge. I feel like you are exploring things that your heart really, really desires, right? Trust this feeling. If you feel, this is a pure love, right? This is something that we're kind of like naturally attracted to. It feels pure, it feels wholesome and healthy. This is like, I really want to learn scuba diving, right? I really want to learn how to fly. I really want to ride a bicycle. I really want to fly a kite. My daughter, now that the weather's getting nice, she's almost 5. And she's like, Daddy, can we fly a kite? Yeah. Heck yeah, we can. We're going to fly a kite pretty soon. I flew kites all the time when I was a kid. I don't know that I ever did it at 5 years old, but she's very curious, right? So it's a natural urge to merge. It's a natural desire that we want to be fulfilled. We want to do different things. Maybe you're going to learn scuba diving. You're going to do some other, finally going to paint, I think that you are very much in touch with what you want your future self to do, who you want to be, and kind of where you want to be, okay? The 2 of Cups is a very, very wonderful card. This destiny, this future needs to unfold, okay? We have a 9 of Swords underneath. Of course we do. There is internal resistance. Here we have a Knight of Cups. Yes, the Knight of Cups is even better than the Knight of Pentacles in this case, right? Because they're both looking at the future. And the Knight of Cups is looking at the future and thinking, the 10 of Cups, right? That's the feeling I want, right? That's who I want to be, where I want to be, and what I want to be feeling in the future self, right? And the Knight of Pentacles is saying that's what it's going to look like. That's the practical side of things, right? So you have both. You have the earth and the waters here. And we've got a little bit of, we've got the external kind of uncertainty that's sparking the internal fear, resistance, or anxiety. This right now, the Nine of Swords is a card not of happiness, not a Nine of Cups, but a card of unhappiness, suffering, misery. Okay, and that maybe is a fear of failure. Maybe there's some other things going on, but we'll take a look. Let's keep going with the cards. We have the Hermit. Over here we have the Hanged Man, the Hierophant in the environment, always. That's usually where the Hierophant shows up, right? It's the perfect place for the Hierophant because it's external wisdom coming in. It's external authority, okay? And we have a 7 of Cups, 8 of Cups, 7. So we have 7, 8, 9 of Cups. Okay, you're overcoming a lot of resistance to this process. Don't despair, okay? We're going to encounter resistance, but, you know, we're going to, I feel like we're going to love ourselves enough to say, I deserve this. And yeah, there are obstacles to getting that car moving, you know? But if this is strong enough in you, if this sort of curiosity or this desire or this the love for your future self, if we want to become that person, we got to start taking action today, right? And that is exactly what we need from the mystery card. Let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card, a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot, the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set it right here with Mr. Tao, the yin yang duck. Hopefully it will be some fire, right? Hopefully it will be some fire because we've got to trust this feeling. There's a lot of things telling you, no, I shouldn't do it. 9 of Swords. Right now I'm too old. I'm too young. I'm too tall. I'm too short. It's too early. It's too late. It's too far away. It's too close to home. Whatever the excuses are, whatever those reasons are, this could be something coming from, you know, an imprint, right? Some program that we've learned in our lives from childhood or even further back than that, right? That now is repeating itself in our life now, and it's kind of, it's causing this internal resistance, okay? But what I really feel like this card is saying is that your life is not going to be complete unless you pursue some of these things. Maybe this is romance. Maybe this is a vacation. Maybe this is like, I want to travel at some point. I want to, you know, me personally, I've never been out of the United States. Can you believe it? I've never traveled internationally. I've had a passport, never used it. That's on my kind of love list here, right? And, you know, it's something that we need to start working toward today. Now, it's not something that we can just say, let's pick up and fly to, you know, Greece or something. We can't do that. We don't have the resources for that. But it's something that we can work up to. Let's make a plan. Let's make it happen. That's the one thing that the Knight of Pentacles can do. Look at the future and figure out, okay, who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? Long-term goal. How do I reverse engineer that? How do I sort of unpack that and work my way backwards and figure out the route to get there? Okay? So we're taking the end goal and we're figuring out how to trace it back to where we are right now, and that's going to give us pretty much the moves we need to make, the things we need to do. We can write a schedule, we can make a plan, we can detail like the incremental goals. That's a long-term goal. I want to go to Greece, right? Go on vacation to Greece or something. What's that one show they had? The Corfus and the Durrells in Corfu. You ever watch that show? Wonderful. And so, you know, that's a long-term goal. We set up the short-term goals. What are the short-term goals? Well, yes, probably save money. Probably have to take our daughter on a shorter airplane ride somewhere so she can get used to the airplane. She's never been on a plane before. And so there are other things that need to happen, right? We'd have to figure out a way to take a little bit of time off work and arrange certain things, and we got to get some way to feed the cats and things like this. But mostly it's a time and money thing, you know, as most things are, time and money, right? But if we want something enough and we value it enough, if we value ourselves enough, we'll find a way to start making those things happen. And it sounds a lot easier than it actually is, right? Especially if this is, well, I want true love. I want my soulmate. I want to meet that person. Okay, well, we have to look at what we're doing right now, today, and every day that's helping us or not helping us to receive that true love, to have this kind of union. This is a desire for a union. What we want is the Lover's card showing that the union is now taking place, right? So you have your major arcana energies. Of course, you have these three here, kind of slashing the reading diagonally here with the Moon, the Hermit, and the Hierophant. Okay, the Hierophant is a lot of it's a lot of things on the sidelines telling you what to do, telling you what not to do. Okay, it's the voice of the world. It's the voice of society. It's the voice of the internet. It's the voice of your parents or your family, your friends, and the voice of the past, the voice of culture, telling you what to do. Okay, and sometimes we think, oh, gosh, yeah, that's right. There's just no way. There's no way for me to do it. I can't see the future with the Moon card, right? But the Hermit here is saying we got to trust our own internal light. We've got to go our own way. If we want to, look, even the Hermit is looking at the Two of Cups, turning his back on the Hierophant, saying, I need to do this anyway. There are a lot of reasons. You set up a goal. I'm 80 years old. I want to learn how to scuba dive, right? There's a lot of Hierophants out there in the world that will think, no, you're too old. That's crazy. Maybe we just hear a voice in the back of our head saying, no, you're too old to do that. You can't learn a new skill like that. Can't teach an old dog new tricks, right? Bull, right? Bovine excrement. You can, and I think that the Hermit is focusing inward and realizing that, okay, if I care about something enough, I can find a way to make it happen. Okay? And, well, then we have to face the challenge of the Moon card. We have to face the uncertainty of the future. We have to step through that dark, scary doorway. It's a scary forest out there. Okay? But the Hermit is going that way and moving away from all of these things. Moving away from this, the Hermit is saying, no, let's stay here. Because this could be a lot of excuses, a lot of reasons. This is kind of our enemy over here right now today, the path of the serpent, right? We like the path of the dove, even with the Nine of Swords, because sometimes the Nine of Swords is saying, I'm recognizing that living my life without this, without at least pursuing this or going after this, or at least being curious about this and seeing how much I of this I can get, or how good I can get, or like without me at least trying to scuba dive and see what it's all about and making an effort for this, my life feels incomplete. We're trying to convert this Nine of Swords into a Nine of Cups, right? Instead of this kind of internal, I just feel, because this would be, I feel old, I feel there's a lot of regrets, I feel like there's a lot of things in life I never did. And, well, wait a minute. Your life's not over. Today, if you're watching this video, you're still alive. Most of us anyway, I'm assuming. So we can do it. And I know it's easier said than done, but you feel this passion inside of you with these knights, right? The knights are ready to rush forward and feel something and make it happen. Okay? And in a certain sense, yeah, they're running into the Hermit, who, if the Hermit is sort of listening to the Hierophant, the Hermit's going to say, no, wait a minute. No, we can't go that way. Turn back. But they're not turning back. The Hermit is turning inward. Okay? And finding the strength, finding the light that we need to face the challenges of doing something new. See, we could look at this dark, scary forest of the Moon and think that this is just, it's too people-y out there. I don't want to do it. The older we get, the harder it is to do new things. But if we can face this fear and we can say, you know what, maybe it's not so bad. At first, change, anything new, anything that breaks with our routines, seems like a dark, scary forest. It seems like there's monsters out there, But I think once we start doing it, once we embrace change, once we cross that threshold, we bring that sunshine. See, there's a little sun at the bottom of that card. It's a new dawn about to happen. Okay? And if we're in this Nine of Swords now, we feel like something's missing from our life, well, you're getting a pretty good idea of what you need. Maybe this is that feeling that's missing from life. I don't know what this is. I don't know, maybe this is skydiving or something. You know, it doesn't have, maybe this is just like learning how to sew. Maybe this is like, I want to start coloring again. It could be anything. I really want to start planting some flowers or something, right? We went kayaking recently, right? And that's one of my Two of Cups kinds of things, right? Where it's just like, we found the cheapest, it's kind of broken, it's kind of janky, this kayak that we bought, but it was the cheapest thing that we could afford just to get something on the water. Just to have something to put there that would float, right? And it's so satisfying. And then hopefully one day we can upgrade, we can get something nicer, you know, something that is, you know, a little bit maybe easier to paddle, I don't know. But you know, you have to cross that threshold, and once you begin, you see that it's not as scary as we think. So this card is a card of a threshold. This is saying, like, I know, I feel this inside. Something's not right. I need something else. I need to be pursuing love. Love. This Two of Cups, it's divine love, self-love, platonic love, romantic love. It's the super glue that holds everything together. And without this, yeah, of course, we're going to have this. And love can take many forms. It could be animals. Maybe you're realizing that you really want to have some animals in your life. Maybe your house is just like quiet and empty, and there's no dog hair or cat hair all over your clothes, and you're like, I kind of want that, you know. We have to recognize what that is, because this is underneath the surface. We may not even really know that it's there. Okay. But I think this can be the impetus. This can be the push that we need to say, staying the same is going to be a lot more painful than just going across this doorway and seeing what the heck is out there if I decide to go and buy that cheap kayak and throw it on the water. Yeah, maybe I'm 100 years old, and maybe I need to really take it easy, you know, but I can start somewhere. You know, maybe I really want a lot of animals, right? We're not just going to go out and like buy a farm, right? You get a little tiny dog to start, right? Get a fish to start, whatever it might be. We don't have to start with these huge gestures. And I think that that's what the Knight of Pentacles is realizing, that we have these huge goals. I want to learn to scuba dive. Okay, well, maybe we got to just get kind of familiar with the water, you know. Maybe we just need to like dip our toe in the bathtub first. Small goals that will lead up to those larger goals. And every step we take is going to feel so good. Even if you're just dipping the toe in the bathtub thinking, oh, water, okay, I'm that much closer to actually scuba diving, you know, or whatever it is for you. Let's do a Divine Doorway card. Your destiny is here, and you just need to unfold this future, right? We want this Two of Cups to unfold into a 10 of Cups, right? Here's your Divine Doorway, the offerings. Abundance lies in the heart that allows, share more than expected, and see love come around. Abundance lies in the heart that allows, share more than expected. Well, maybe that's a reference to our hermit mode too, in a way. If we are turning back from other people, I think as we get older too, it's a lot easier to be more introverted. Maybe this is kind of like, you know, we're usually just kind of like the guide on the side rather than the sage on the stage, you know, that we're sort of like, we're helping other people do it. We're assisting. We're kind of, you know, we're giving advice from the sidelines rather than being the star of the show. Rather than being the magician on stage performing, the hermit might be saying, well, you know, I want things. I have this love and this desire for things, but, you know, I just kind of, you know, I have a hard time going out and trying new things or meeting new people. I'm not very social, etc., etc. Okay, so maybe the hermit needs to share more. The hermit is looking within and finding the light, finding that love inside, and perhaps now needs to turn around. Maybe the mystery card will be the Magician or the Sun card. Okay. And, or maybe the Fool even, right? Now, the Knight of Cups in the background to me feels like we have this, and maybe this is something from a long time ago. Maybe you had a passion for something, and it's sort of, it got, I don't know, it got deprioritized. It got, in a way, overwritten by other needs, you know, other things that we had to do. Yeah, I wanted to learn to skydive, but, you know, life kind of got in the way, and I had to do other things first, and now here I am, 200 years old, and I don't know what to do, right? And I don't care how old you are. It doesn't, you could be a teenager still, okay? Maybe this was, you know, this was art. Maybe this was music, right? I know a lot of people that they were so musical when we were kids, and then they grow up and they're business people and they're, you know, they're blue collar workers, right? And they don't have time for music anymore. And they used to love it so much, and now they don't do it. There's some friends I have that probably haven't listened to a song intentionally in like 10 years. And maybe it's that simple. Maybe it's just returning to what we really love doing. What do we enjoy more than anything? When you were a kid, what did you love doing where hours would go by and your parents would have to drag you into the house to have dinner because you were so immersed in what you were doing? I feel like it has something to do with water maybe, but I don't know. We got to get that passion back again, okay? And so I think you're kind of feeling like, I want it. I feel it in my heart. I feel a yearning for it. I know I'm going to regret it if I don't have this in my life. And perhaps the Nine of Swords is saying, you know, I already regret not having it in my life. That's got to change right now. It doesn't matter how old you are. You could be 20, you could be 200. It doesn't matter. Okay. What we've got to do is we've got to use the Hermit energy to look inside and to see this and to acknowledge that if I feel this, maybe there's a reason why. Maybe we feel like this super glue of love is going to be exactly what heals this and transforms this into a Nine of Cups. But we have to go through that doorway. We have to share more. We have to open our heart, for one. And the Two of Cups is a card of sharing, right? It's kind of a card that says, I'm giving and giving and giving to this relationship, and it's giving back to me too. You know, not transactionally. It's not love as a transaction, but it's love as reciprocating, respectful, mutually supportive, right? That you plus the scuba diving, right, is equaling more than two, right? It's a greater, it's more than the sum of its parts, right? And to do that, we have to cross that threshold of that moon card. And love will come around, see? Abundance lies in the heart that shares, or the heart that allows, share more than expected, and see love come around. We got to go through that Hermit energy. We also have to deal with the Hanged Man, okay? Now, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. These readings are totally free. The Hanged Man seems to be a couple of things. One, we've got to go all the way inside. We've got to dive down into the bottom of the pool and touch that Nine of Swords so we can feel it, so we know it's there. We dive down and we touch that, and then we can fire dance. Then we can re-emerge from that, right? But first we've got to go down because we have to recognize this. And that's kind of like we have to feel this card, because this card is giving us the movement. It's sort of like we have to dive down and touch the little spikes at the bottom, and then we're going to shoot right up out of the pool, and we're going to say, okay, that's it. I gotta do this thing, you know. The Hanged Man could also be a card that says I've spent a long time helping other people get what they want. I've been a long time in service to other people, deprioritizing our own needs, wants, desires, hopes, wishes, and aspirations for the sake of somebody else, usually our parents, teachers, even friends, boss, supervisors, you know, the neighborhood, the whatever. Kind of a feeling like our priorities don't matter and everybody else needs to get what they want first. Okay. I wonder if that's changing for you. Okay. And I wonder if we're realizing that this sort of needs to change. And it's kind of like we're in service to the Hierophant, right? The Hierophant is saying, no, this is your position. This is where you're supposed to be. Okay? Of course, we see the Hermit saying, I'm done with this dynamic, and walking toward love, walking backwards right? Let's say walking backwards toward love. So I think it is returning to a time where we loved ourselves, where we had passions and interests, and we're going to get back to them, right? I think this is a return to yourself. I think this is a return to an innocence and a purity and a self-love, right? That's saying I'm done with this Hierophant Hanged Man dynamic. I'm done being in service. And I think that, it's kind of a common idea. In the first half of life, we are in service to things outside of ourselves, to Hierophant. Parents, teachers, boss, the world, society, our neighborhood, our community, like the world, we're trying to please everything out there, right? That's what kids are trying to do, figure out how they can adapt to the world, right? But then in the so-called second half of life, and that could happen at any age, by the way, in that next phase of life, we realize that, okay, I've kind of done that. Now it's time for me to go the other way. And instead of me adapting to the world, I'm going to make the world adapt to me a little bit. Right? So we're becoming a full magician. Not just half a magician, but a full magician, right? And we're saying that, okay, I have desires in me, and I'm going to do whatever I can to align and arrange my world to be conducive to that. Okay, so we're in service to something inside of ourselves now. That's what the Hermit is advising, right? That we're sort of returning in, we're finding the light and the love inside. We're saying, this is what I'm in service to, not the Hierophant anymore. Okay? And I think the Hanged Man is sort of waking up and rising up and getting right out of that swamp, going right up the top of the path of the dove and out the other side. Okay? And so we talked about the Hierophant in the environment, in your relationships. That's usually where the Hierophant shows up in a reading, is in the environment, in the position of your relationships. Okay? In the relationships, it may seem as if we've been in service to what the other person, the other structure or institution, what they need, how I can adapt to be in service to them so that I fit in, so that I'm accepted, right? And I think we're done with that. Okay? Now, the first thing we may experience is a little bit of loneliness, right? With the Eight of Cups here in the position of what we don't want. We don't want to lose any of the any of the good stuff we might already have, any of the waters that we're already enjoying. And it could be that the routine of life is already fairly well established. I get the feeling that a lot of you watching this are maybe a little bit older today. I know there are some teenagers that watch the channel, but most of us are around the same age, Let's say, past our 30s a little bit, maybe. I feel as if we have these structures and these systems in our life that have become pretty routine. And there's comfort in routine. And there's a little bit of discomfort when we break with those routines. Okay? Sometimes we have to break those routines. That's the only way that we're going to grow and open ourselves up to something better. That's the only way we're going to change. Is to sacrifice a little bit of the routine and focus on ritual, intentional actions that open us up to change. Routines, rituals, they seem like they're pretty much the same, right? But the routines are saying it's going to stay the same. Nothing is going to really evolve from it. That's the structure, right? But a ritual is kind of like we're open to the improvisation. We're open to the influx of spirit to sort of shake, rattle, and roll and see what we're going to develop into and see what new things are going to come. It's kind of we're entering into something with curiosity, okay? So I wonder if with the Eight of Cups here, if we kind of feel as if we take some risks in life, we activate our fire energy or whatever it might be in there to pursue these goals, okay, that we might distance ourselves from our peers, the other 200-year-old people out there that are saying, "Oh, scuba diving, you're crazy. You think you're a teenager?" So I feel like we're gonna sort of alienate ourselves a little bit. We might feel a little bit ostracized from our peers because they're not interested in doing those kinds of things. Not everybody is listening to this reading, although they should be. So we might at first feel as if we are becoming the hermit, that we're kind of like we're not resonating with our people anymore because They don't have that spark or that fire that you have. Trust me, the people that do have that spark and do have that fire like you have, they'll find you, you'll find them, it'll be fine. Okay? You might be the oldest person in the room, but that's okay. All right, that's okay. The Seven of Cups says we have to love ourselves enough to not give up on this love, on this desire that we have. It's never too late. It's never too late to feel this and to want this and to find ways to pursue this. Obviously based on your resources, based on your abilities and all that kind of stuff, right? And maybe we have to start small, but the Seven of Cups is us realizing that I don't want to just stay here. I don't want to feel stuck. I don't want to feel like where I am in life now is all there is. You know, sometimes, and I don't know, maybe it's just after you get 30, or some of us might be after 40, we kind of start to feel like this is it. This is like my brain has grown all it's going to grow. This is my body for the rest of my life now. Nothing can change. This was everything it could be. And now it's just a matter of like, I just got to try to maintain this, you know, as long as I can. Forget about it getting better. I'm just trying to prevent it from falling apart, right? But I think that's kind of a, I don't know, it feels like that's a hurtful way to look at life. You know, let's look at it like, I still got plenty of time left. Well, not too much time where we're going to be lazy, right? But I can still do things. I still can get healthier. I still can get fit. I still can learn how to swim or skydive or kayak or whatever these things are, learn how to ride a bike. Or I still can find time to paint or draw or play music. Right? It may take some time. I may have to really want it and figure out how to rearrange life a little bit. It's kind of a time and space affluence, right? Where we need to create time and space. It's not a luxury most of us have. The Seven of Cups is saying there's probably some stuff we could get rid of and reclaim that time and space. I want to play drums. That's my Two of Cups, really, is playing the drums again. Oof, I can't wait. I need to start making plans to do that. And so the first thing I did, I went out and I bought a pair of sticks, a couple of bucks on Amazon. They got to my house the next day. And I need to reclaim some time and space in my life where I can just like start hitting the sticks around again, just on the pillow or on the blankets or something, you know, just sort of get in the vibe. And then maybe I'll move on and I'll get an actual practice pad. Then maybe I'll go a little bit further than that and I'll find a used, cheap kit. Probably sounds terrible, but who cares? No one's going to hear it but me. Well, probably my family, but there are things that I need to do to reclaim time and space. Maybe I don't need to spend so many hours in the bathtub. I can take a shorter bath, right? And use that time to immerse myself in that love for the percussion, you know? And so we never need feel like we are truly, truly stuck. Okay. Let's look at the mystery card. Fire. Fire, fire, fire. Or magician, that's spiritual fire. The star flyer, right? Maybe the star card. If you have a prediction, put it in the comments. See what we have. Yeah, fire. The Eight of Wands. We're going to ring the bell. The Eight of Wands is Mercury in Sagittarius, by the way. So this is kind of the magician working through the Sagittarius energy, right? Mercury, Sagittarius. And these wands are all going in the same direction. And it may be the idea that we need to just start. We need to just do it, right? Because we have all this heavy energy here today. Even the 9, heavy, heavy water, heavy earth energy. It's all water and earth, by the way. Right? Except for the air. It's all water and earth. Okay. Pisces, right? Water. Hermit, earth. Taurus, earth. Hanged Man, water, 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 earth, water. Even the nine of Wands is kind of a watery card. It's very heavy energy. Earth and water are elements that go down, that are heavy, that drag, and they function slowly. What we need now is a little bit of momentum. We need some fire. We need to kickstart something. And so getting the drumsticks and carving out a little bit of time and space in my day, it could be 5 minutes, it could be while I'm in the bathroom, you know what I mean? Again, not to be gross, but that is enough to kickstart this journey for you. And then we're going to be directing more and more of our attention. See, the 8 wands, they're all going in the same direction. So this is saying that we are kind of gathering our resources and we're pushing it towards something. We're not scattered. I can't do the drums and learn to skydive and learn to fly a plane and do all these things at the same time. Okay, we might have to kind of choose one path and put a lot of momentum into that. Okay, there has to be, I think, like one main priority. I'm still going to go kayaking, I'm still going to play and do all these other things and garden and stuff, but the thing that's going to be a big focus is going to be carving out the time and space to practice the percussion. Okay, for me anyway, maybe for you. But the 8 of Wands is that kickstart. It's kind of saying we need to do something to get the energy moving. And once it starts moving, it's going to build up speed. And we're going to start to feel good. We're going to be more and more motivated. We're going to say, yeah, you know what, this is possible. Okay. Now we're going to do an extended reading. We'll do an I Ching hexagram. We'll do some oracle cards. There's a link up top. There's a link down below. New readings for Sagittarius Wednesdays and Sundays. Be sure to watch both readings. If you want to watch the extendeds on the website, go to doveandserpenttarot.com. You can also find me on Patreon. Go subscribe to my wife's channel. She's over at Ula Tea Leaf Readings. She does zodiac sign readings. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't yet. These readings are totally free. And leave me a comment. Let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we're all in this together.